Hi there. So this week's discussion thread was on informed consent, and I'm just going to go ahead and begin reading the example that I found. It's from Briar Grove Elementary School, and it states, "The counselor at Briar Grove Elementary School offers short-term individual and/or small group counseling to students. Parents or guardians or school staff may request students for counseling, or the student may request it. It is the school's policy to obtain parent or guardian written permission for counseling that extends beyond 2 sessions. School counseling services are short term services and not intended as a substitute for diagnosis or treatment for any mental health disorder. If you want to give permission for your child to receive these services during the school year, complete and sign the consent form below and return the bottom portion to your child's teacher or the counselor, Mrs. Doolin. The counselor will keep information confidential with some exceptions. Because these services are provided in a school setting, the counselor may share information with the parent or guardian, the child's teacher, and Briar Grove administrators who work with the child so that we may better assist the child. Child abuse or neglect, threats of harming self or others must be disclosed to the proper authorities." And then it just has, at the bottom half is where you'd rip it off and send it into the school teacher or the counselor. So to begin, after reading over the South Carolina state regulations for school counseling, it did mention that the services should be provided for individuals, small groups, and in response to a crisis. And the first line of this particular example mentions that the school offers short-term individual and/or small group counseling to students. So I think it would be important to mention in that line something that along the lines of also offering services in terms of a crisis. That could be a death of a student or staff member in the school, or even just something more global, or something traumatic happening in the country, something like that. I just think it would be nice to add that in there. And then one other thing that the state board regulations mentioned is that the counseling services should be in line with the overall school goals. So I just think it might be helpful if maybe at the top they had the top of this informed consent, that they had maybe the school's mission statement. This way, that's the first thing you read, and then you go into the counseling services, just so it's all kind of in line and you can tell it's a part of the overall school's goals. And just seeing what the overall school's goals are, I think would be helpful. Excuse me. So that's about all that I thought in regard to the South Carolina State Board regulations. So then, after looking at the Code of Ethics, I did notice in section A2C where it mentions counselors use clear and understandable language when discussing issues related to informed consent. So my initial thought with that was, not everyone can read and understand English. And of course, it's not expected that you have one of these informed consents in every language, although that would be wonderful. It's just not realistic. So, with that being said, I thought, if it were me and I didn't understand the language or I didn't know English, the first thing I would be doing is looking for some point of contact on here, a number to call or an email, and there's nothing on here, which, sorry. I just thought that might, regardless of language barriers, period, I think that's something that should be on there, just so that you can, call the counseling department right after you read this. There should just be some sort of point of contact on this paper, in my opinion. And that would just go along with the language barriers, if there are any. And another thing that the Code of Ethics, along with that section A2C, mentions is a clear and understandable language for that population you're working with. So in this example, it's an elementary school. So I do think that the language, it's, they don't go into excessive detail in this informed consent. It's pretty basic and simple, and I think that they did a good job for catering to this population at elementary school with their language. And one other thing that I think, just my suggestion after looking at this, is I'm not very good at holding this up. You can see, I just think up here, maybe having the school's like logo or emblem or something just to make this look a little more professional, and not so, it just, to me, it looks like something I could type up and just send out to everyone in the school. And just in my opinion, I think it should have something that signifies it's important for the school. It belongs to Briar Grove Elementary School. So that's about it. Thank you.